Mark had to call in. The mayor's out of state. So everybody that's going to be there. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, then we'll go over the agenda items for Thursday. Okay, well, starting with, let's see, we have awards and presentations. Oh, Parks and Rec Employee of the Year awards. Nice. And then, Mr. Petruchek, do you want to share anything now, or?
Sure. Thank you, Vice Mayor Flowers, members of the council. We did get our sales tax report for last week, and the numbers are still relatively flat. There seems to be an anomaly in one of the reporting categories, so David is working to find out why the numbers are skewed, but there seems to be some underreporting or some back reporting that's necessary. Despite that, we're still running about 3% ahead for the current year, so better than last year so far. So we'll keep our eye on that as well. So just a few projects going on. The Julio Cesare pavement replacement came in over budget on a bid, so we'll be looking at adjusting the scope of work for that and probably downsizing it, and then looking to go back out for another procurement on that. So that one will probably have to be phased over a couple of years. The pre-bid meeting for the municipal airport main apron rehabilitation was held April 2nd. Bids came in, and we're still pending award from FAA on that. So that FAA has been moving very slow on a number of our projects, I'm afraid to say. Procurement is getting our job order contractors lined up. We had 5 firms, as I mentioned last time. The first project out of the chute will be the puppy room. We have a request for proposals for pre-employment and CDL physicals, and those proposals are due on July 10th. And then the wastewater plan implementation project awarded to Schneider Electric as an energy savings project. We had a vision mapping or course strategy meeting, and that's held for July 30th, and that'll be kicking off pretty soon. One of the things that will be happening is on July 1st, we'll need to send money for the solar portion of that project. So after you approve the tentative budget, we'll be doing that in order to get the solar part finished by the end of the year. And I'm sure I'll have some more on Thursday. So
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Any questions for the city manager? Go ahead, Ken.
Hey, Chuck, on the cancellation of the Julio Cesar project, so do you cancel it just based on purely on the budget, or did it just exceed projections, cost projections?
Sometimes if a bid comes in close, we'll go ahead and work with it. This one, I think, exceeded. Sharon, how much it was?
Think about 500 to 600.
500 to
over.
600,000 over. So that we can't just dig
That's
up.
over your cost projections, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Obviously, fuel prices right now are not helping us on a project that's dependent on oil.
Right, okay. Oil beam asphalt.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks, that's all I got.
Any other questions? No? Okay, we'll move on to the next item. Is it item 2, consent agenda? Any discussion on that? Changes? No. Item 3 would be discussion and possible action, approval of, the tentative budget. Is this Jen? Okay, Jen? Will it be you on Thursday too? Okay.
Vice Mayor and members of council, I'm pleased to present to you the proposed fiscal year 2026-2027 tentative budget in the amount of $140,710,916. Pursuant to state statute, the FY 26-27 budget will be effectively capped through council adoption of this resolution. The final budget may be less than or equal to the tentative budget amount. However, it may not exceed it. The state budget forms are provided with the resolution. At last work session, Victoria summarized the changes from the tentative budget book. These changes were also outlined in the memo, along with 3 new updates to the airport and the capital improvements fund. 2 projects were carried over into next fiscal year, and 1 transfer was removed from the CIF. The tentative budget has been posted on the city's website. To date, we have not received any public comments. A reminder, approval of the final budget is scheduled for July 23rd, and the resolution to adopt property tax levy is scheduled for August 13th.
Thank you. Any questions for Jen? Go ahead, Ken.
Thank you. Hey, Jen, on the items on the read ahead, airport CIF, et cetera, where you have the same digits, 71.9, 71.9 out, are they both on both sides of the ledger? One's revenue and one's cost, or are you transferring these costs within the budget?
If you're looking at the airport for the vanquished air revenue, the 71,933,
Yeah.
so we had additional revenue. So we reduced the carryover, which is the fund balance, to match that additional revenue. So if there's no additional expenditure to match that revenue, then we'd just reduce the fund balance so that the
So
fund
you're
is
just
balanced.
you're just making both sides of the ledger match, right?
Yes.
When you're doing these,
Yes,
and that's the same for obviously all of those.
all of it, yes.
Okay.
So most of everything you'll see should add up to zero.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
Item 4, approval of change in collection of credit and debit card merchant fees. Mr. Felix.
Mayor, members of council, as you know, we take credit and debit cards for various functions. We do online through RecTrack, through the online Citizen Serve that Community Development now has, ACO, and all of them take credit cards. Over time, these fees have gradually increased, and despite even working with the credit card company and the processors, these fees are pretty significant. For July through March, we've paid just over $200,000 in credit card fees. And these are specific to people who use debit and credit cards. So what we're proposing to you is to transfer, and we're allowed to, through many of the processing and merchants, have the user pay the fees, not all the other ratepayers pay the fees. So the specific people who use their credit card would pay those changes specific fees. And understand these fees are quite variable. For instance, one of the major credit cards people use, depending on which card they have, has a different fee. If you have the base card, it's a lower fee. But if you have their super exclusive, ultra mileage rewards, cashback, that fee's higher to us because somebody has to pay the user for those fees. So this just lets us move and transfer those fees and pass them on to the actual person paying them. And as it is the actual merchant fees, we don't have to try and estimate a fee that would be kind of one aggregate fee. Because, for example, the fees range, one of our processors have gone through the online Tyler, we've had 1.6% the average fee. For ACO, it's 14%. So a uniform city fee would obviously overcharge some and undercharge others. But since many of the specific merchants let us pass their specific fees on, that's what this resolution will do, is allow us to pass those specific fees on to the customers who are using the cards. They can still come in and pay with a check. They can still come in, of course, pay cash, a mail check in. Many people go online to their bank, and they'll do all their bill pay for their bank, because Jill's people will get a stack every other month, about 2 inches thick, from like First Interstate Bank, that has all the fees, all their customers' checks in one batch sent to us. So those options are still available at no fees to the customers. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? I have one. Let's say you're going on the web, is it WebTrack or whatever site we use to like book the fields and stuff in pool? Will it show that you're paying, will it be a line item?
You hit the one unique one, because Laura has actually, I've worked with Laura over the years, because RecTrack is only credit card and has always been that way. And we had a problem years back of actually losing money on joint helping people out, where you took the credit cards without credit card fees. And so the city actually was eating the cost of the credit card fees for our partner. She is baked into, and we've gone through her statements, and her fees are actually included with it. So the RecTrack is the unique one that has it already included in it. So her fees that are charged through RecTrack already put the fees in there. And we know that processor because it's one processor unique to them. And so that fee is pretty well set. So those are
Okay.
easy to do.
I need
for
a
that
different
one.
example. Okay,
but-
I'm in the park getting tickets for one of the
Yeah,
fests.
if you're using Square, yes, then it will show up that.
Okay.
I believe it shows up that here's the fee and then here's what is going to the city. But what the city will get is that $25 that you pay to get your tickets for the event. We'll get 25, your card will have the 25, and then whatever the fees are on top.
Okay. Thank you.
I do.
Yeah, go ahead, Ken. Yeah.
What's that?
Or did you have, I'm sorry, did you
Yes.
have a,
Thank you, Vice Mayor
can't
Flowers.
see you
I'm
over
so
there.
sorry.
I'm
I
too
know.
short.
I know. I was just gonna say, we do the same thing. We bake that in also on our end. We have Squares take it off the back end, so when the city receives our payment, they've already taken that. When the customer sees their fees that they're gonna pay for everything in my department, the fees are, it's baked in, the customer pays what they see, what's advertised is what you pay. And that includes things for Eventbrite, Active, for Summit Challenge. We did this like 6 years ago, so we're good to go. I was so excited.
thank you.
But this is changing, right? With this,
Well, with this one, we won't be lowering their fees, we'll leave them alone.
Yes.
But in the future, when we review their fees, if their fees have to go up in the future, this will be a way to help offset what the customer would look like as a fee increase.
Brian, you have a question?
Real quick, where does the customer see it? At the point of sale or?
Well, it's like when you go online to SSVEC.
Right.
Or go online to Arizona Water or those, they'll say, here, you're paying a fee.
Okay, so it says it right at
It will
point of
say it
sale.
right
Okay.
there, and we're working with Munis.
They know
Yeah.
right at that moment.
They'll know right
that
at
they're
that
paying a
point
fee.
that there's
Okay.
a fee attached.
Okay.
hey, Madam Vice, I have one question.
Yes, go ahead.
Are there any credit cards that we don't take just because they're simply too high of fees, like Amex or one of those?
That's an interesting wrinkle because the Amex, it's not because of the fee, but the online processor does not necessarily take. You can come in the front desk and pay with Amex. But when we went to the Tyler Payments, the Tyler Payment Portal was having problems with Amex. Had nothing to do with us choosing or not choosing them.
Are we
Because
allowed
as an
to
Amex
choose?
user, I'd prefer to use Amex, but you can pay it downstairs with your Amex and it'll
Are we
take it.
allowed to not accept certain credit cards?
We're allowed to not accept certain credit cards if we, I mean, many people, as you know, will accept, Visa, MasterCard only.
Yeah.
I mean, Discover is still out there, Amex is out there, but we can, in Diners Club, even there's a few rare ones of those left for older people. But we can pick and choose, but we've always accepted any card
Okay.
that the
So
processor
that's the
will
answer.
let us
Yeah, we're
handle.
going to continue to take any card and just
Yes.
aggregate the
Yeah.
cost.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
great.
that, in that one too, that credit card through the payment processor, that one will get passed back on by the processor.
Good, thanks.
So,
All right. All right, thanks, David. We're going to move on to item 5, which is amending the policy for city employee retiree health coverage. Mrs. Downing.
Good afternoon, Vice Mayor and members of council. So let me give you a background about why we got here today first to kind of give you an idea about why we're here today. So right now, the retirees who have retired all the way from when our policy started back in 1983, we've allowed the employees who were hired, who were hired on or before October 25th, 2029 to stay on the city's medical plan. So when the employee was an employee, they were on the city's plan. When the employee retired, they stayed on the city's medical plan and the city subsidized their payments as a retiree. As time went on, as you can imagine, the fees for retirees started to increase. And then in 2009, the city decided we need to alter a different plan. And then they developed a second tier of employees who were hired October 25th, 09 to July 2012, and they have a different retiree medical plan. It's the city, they can still be on the city's plan. However, the city will not reimburse the premium for Medicare. So the tier ones get everything. The tier twos, they do get to stay on the city's plan, but we don't pay for Medicare. And then any new employees hired July 1st, 2012 or after, we don't do either. Because as you can imagine, the cost of maintaining retirees on the city's plan is very, very expensive. So as the years went by, since 1983, we've done 4 amendments by resolution to the council to alter the employee retiree. And so we're here again to alter the employee's retiree health coverage just slightly. And we don't think it would have a large effect on our employees who are about to retire because the city is going to cover the difference. So now let me give you an explanation. So in the last 2 years, retiree health has been $2.1 million of claims for the retirees. As you can imagine, $2.1 million of claims hits our stop-loss insurance. Once insurance gets hit, it raises our rates for the next year. And as Victoria described in the budget last time we met, she said that David Felix had to add more contributions to the trust because the rates are going up. City staff determined that if we were able to move the retirees off of the city plan, and remind you, these are only new retirees. Anyone who is already retired, nothing happens. These are just new retirees. Any new retirees, move them off the city's plan onto the state's plan, which is a very robust plan in order to safeguard the city so that we can continue offering this wonderful benefit to our current employees. So as I mentioned, current retirees, nothing will happen. There's no effect. Any employee who retires between now and June 30th, which is only about a week, they will still be able to stay on the city's plan. So what I wanted to do is use the overhead to kind of show you the cost difference. Are we able to put that overhead up? No. I don't know how to work that thing. Help me.
Let's see. Here we go. And then if you want to zoom in or out here.
Let's zoom out a little bit so we can cover both margins. And then the focus is a little blurry?
It'll autofocus once we stop messing with it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we're only going to focus on the very top row, which is the rates for the deductee. So essentially there's going to be 4 impacts that this resolution will do. Number 1, it would move the high dollar retiree claims from the city plan to the state plan to protect the trust so that we can remain sustainable. Number 2, the Tier 1 and Tier 2 employees who retire, and we've made it August 1st because resolutions don't take effect till 30 days. So if the employee retires August 1st, then we will automatically move them to the state plan, and if there is a high claim, then the state would cover that expense and not the city. The city would also supplement, we would send a subsidy to the employees so that they would not see any financial difference between being on the city plan and the state plan. And we would pay those in advance. We would pay those in advance per quarter. So the retiree would get 4 checks a year in advance of their quarter, so they wouldn't be out the money. We would give them money up front. And lastly, we've determined that the state's plan is a very good plan, and we wanted to show you why so that there wouldn't be any hesitation about moving employees to the state plan. So the right column here that says City of Sierra Vista, this is our column. This is the city's column here. And under single only, so the city would pay 100, if the employee gets under Tier 1 and Tier 2, the city pays 5% of the retiree's health insurance for each year they worked. If they worked 20 years, the city would pay 100% of the premium. So for example, if we have a single only, the city's payment is $985.85, but the state plan is $1,397. So what we would do is if we move this employee to the state plan under the Choice Premier, the city would send a subsidy to the employee so that the subsidy's retirement only gets hit the $985.85. Any questions? David's here to help me with any of the numbers. If you have any specific numbers, any questions? Yes.
So are the coverages similar?
The coverages are very, very similar. We did an analysis. If you look, David was nice enough to highlight the little green, yellow, I'm not sure if you can see green on the screen, but the little green sections are the difference between the highest plan offered by the state and the cities. So some of the ones in green, the city's a little better. Some of the ones in green on the state plan, the state's a little better.
And
But-
you said the subsidy is paid via like a check to the employee direct?
Yes,
What, quarterly?
quarterly in advance.
And
Yes.
then how do the employees feel about this? Has there been any pushback by any groups of employees or anything like that?
We informed the employees early June, so we've given them almost a month and we've given them education. We posted this in the newsletter. We had about half a dozen employees contact HR to understand how it would affect them. And for example, when they contacted me, one of the employees was concerned because their doctor they couldn't find on the United Healthcare, and they were panicked because either they would have to retire in a week or they would have to find third-party insurance. And I asked her, give me the name of your doctor. Maybe it's difficult to find. And sure enough, I did my research into the United Healthcare group for the state's plan, and it was there. So they're 100% covered. So I think most of the employees were worried, do I have to change my doctor? If the doctor is in the United Healthcare network, the answer is no. There is a very robust list of providers in the United Healthcare network. Yes.
One last question, well, at least for now. Is there any difference between the city of Sierra Vista and the state plan? You said state plan, right? Any difference in how these two plans change for the employee when they hit their full retirement age and are forced into Medicare?
When the employee turns 65 and they're forced into Medicare,
Or 67 for some?
okay, well, let's use 65. When the employee turned 65, they're required to go on Medicare. So the employee would be required to go into Medicare Parts A and B. And if you're in Tier 1, the city would pay for the premium for Medicare. If you're in Tier 2, the employee, as the general public, would have to pay for their own Medicare. But once you turn into Medicare, the regular state medical doesn't apply. It's all Medicare.
So you say the city pays for the Medicare, but it's my understanding that Medicare is taken out of the Social Security, the Social Security payment. So are you basically reimbursing out of the Social Security deduction?
I'm
for
going to let
Medicare?
David Felix answer that one because he looks like he has something to say.
What the city pays for is, to the first question, we always pay until Medicare eligible. Once that's done, if you want to, it's up to you to pay. What the city pays for the people that have retired, that were hired before the 2009, we will pay the Medicare supplement. So it's the Part A, Part B. The regular Medicare, no, people don't pay for that. But when you get the supplemental, that is what we will kick in. And we reimburse the employees for that one as well. Those checks go out quarterly as well.
Is that normally the 202 or something for the,
Yeah.
the standard? I mean, I know
Yeah.
it goes up if you're in a different.
Yeah, that's the typical thing. It's like the subsidy the state gives for the healthcare. They vary based off each person. So there's
so
no
the city
set
pays.
one number, but yeah, but the
Okay.
the thing, and the employees do have to provide proof of the coverage before we reimburse them to make sure that they're there. And to understand, the reason for the prepayment for the quarter is the state deducts those premiums from the retirement check the employee receives. So it's actually a benefit to the employee that we give it to them up front for the quarter. That cuts down on the staff time to review them, that cuts down on the checks issued, less risk of a month loss, and they're prepaid, so they don't have to be worried about out of money waiting for the city to reimburse them for our subsidy for the program.
So it didn't seem like I got a real clear answer on my question is there any pushback by any of the groups of employees like firefighter unions or anything like that on this change?
No, there was no pushback. As I mentioned, we had a small handful of employees call or come to visit HR with questions. We answered all of their questions. And if there was pushback, we would assume they would be panicking and saying, I'm retiring before June 30th. We did not get any of that input.
Thank you.
Once we explained the process and once we showed them that they weren't losing anything and that the city would be paying the same, there was a fear that there would be a loss of benefits. But as you can see, we're supplementing that, so there definitely is no loss. The only thing the employee would feel is that they would no longer be part of the Ameriban Blue Cross Blue Shield network, and they will be part of the United Healthcare network.
Okay.
Chuck, did you have something?
Thanks, Vice Mayor Flowers, members of council. The benefit that we're talking about here is a very generous benefit. And it's designed, obviously, to take care of employees when they retire or before age 65. And it's primarily beneficial to public safety retires because in the PSPRS system, a public safety employee can generally retire at an earlier age than somebody in the Arizona State retirement system. So that is a strong retention tool that we have to be able to attract and retain public safety employees. And so the system here is designed to hold those employees whole, make them whole as they transition to the new state system. So they're not losing or paying anymore, but they're still keeping the benefit, and we're keeping our commitment to all those employees to age 65. What happened this year was we meet every year in the spring with our health and accident insurance consultants. And because of these very high claims that Kenny mentioned earlier, we were looking at 50% increases in premium costs to active employees over the next 3 years, not just 1 year, but 50% premium increases over the next 3 years just to keep the fund whole. So in order to attack this problem, working with David, what we did was come up with a plan where the city, meaning the taxpayers, are increasing their contribution to employee health care benefits, and then we raise the employee rates to 20% instead of the 50% that we thought might have to happen. And the reason for that is to make sure that the 2% raise that we were able to do more than adequately covered the employees' increase in health care benefits. Now, why is all this important? If we didn't move the retirees off into the state's plan, then the rates would probably go up or even skyrocket to the existing active employee base over time. So there would be probably a pushback on that, to use your phrase, Councilman Myers, if we didn't try to address this in some other way. So the plan keeps our commitment to the new employee, our retirees. All the old retirees are grandfathered in, so they're not affected at all. And hopefully this will help stabilize rates for the active employees moving forward. So those are the reasons we're bringing this forward to you guys today.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ken.
Hey, Dave. So the budget appropriation says none. And I understand that the changes we're making to the retirement system actually are increasing within the budget, which is what Chuck just said. But from a policy perspective, changing from the city policy to the state policy, that's why this appropriation's done. So from a policy perspective, there's no change.
Well, the policy perspective, if you want to talk in general policy, like Chuck said,
Yeah.
when all the city employees hired in, the city promised health care
Right.
at least until they're 65
Yeah.
for most of us. So we're keeping that policy. Now, we also have to try and keep affordable rates for people to have dependents. And the retirees are obviously the highest risk, highest expensed people. Like we said, 20 to 33% of the claims over the last 2 years, 1 year's 20, the other year it's 33% of the claims are retiree claims.
Right.
The retiree premium is not covering the retiree medical costs for the last 2 years. So And that's where the risk comes in. Now, we've had a big stop loss on a retiree as well. Well, the stop loss is insurance. When you have an accident and you're at fault, your insurance rates go up because they have to recover the cost. So not only do we have stop loss that helps, but then down the road, they need to recover that. So if we take what this does is guarantees the retirees and all the city employees, you're going to get health care. What this really does is for a couple $100 or less a month for retiree, shift all that downside risk of high claims to the state. And if you think the state's plan, think of how many people are on the state's plan and how many retirees the state has. Tens of thousands of people, not a couple hundred people that we have to eat that cost over. That's why large claims like that can have such a negative effect on the stop loss policies. We've got a small population to go that against. So when I looked at it, I'm looking at the net effect between the increased premium we have to pay the state and then the savings on the premiums, and the risk should basically net to zero, which is why I haven't really changed anything as far as we need to up, anything over the recommended rate increase. That's why we got the recommended rate increase. If we didn't do that, we'd be looking at a higher rate increase, especially for retirees in this year's budget than we've put in. Does that answer the question?
And the additional money put in the trust in the budget is covering what we're talking about.
Yes.
And the budget will be approved hopefully Thursday. This won't even go into effect until August, so we're assuming what's baked into the trust is already in the budget. So this resolution has no impact.
On the budget?
On the budget.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Yeah, I understand going to the larger risk pool dampens out the volatility. Okay, so the trust is fully funded to, it's not, it's impossible to be fully funded. So it's fully funded for the expected stop loss, or?
For fully funded, part of the other reason I'm looking at when we did the change is there's something called GASB 67, other pension benefits. And we have a liability on our books. It's in the financial report every year, about $15–20 million for the health care that's promised to people. But what this also does is that helps reduce that pension liability. The trust has over $5 million in the trust cash balance. And the reason we've worked to build the trust up is two reasons. One is for items like this. So if we have a bad year, we don't have to do like we literally did before, and everybody had a huge increase one year because the fund would have been bankrupt back in the 90s if we did not do. And it was 2 years of significant increases to employees. And the second thing is that $5 million kind of offsets that OPEB liability. We've not formally asked the council or the trust to formally designate it for that, because then that restricts our ability to use it as a cushioning mechanism like this, as a dampening mechanism. But we can show that we have $5 million, $6 million in the trust, which we can show against that long-term liability as well.
So what's the risk of us exceeding the trust ever?
It can happen. If we sat there, there's $5 or $6 million. Well, their projection was if we did not do anything,
If we stayed in the old,
if we stayed under the old ones or had a small 3 or 5% increase, in 4 years the trust would have zero cash. We would burn through $5 million the
we
next 3
fund the
years.
trust every year to keep it at 5
Oh,
million?
that's what the rates get set to cover the expenses to try and make the trust level. The trust gains if we are below the actuarial estimate that the rates do. Obviously, the trust goes down if the actuals go against their cost estimates.
So you manage the trust outside of the city budget and within the risk pool of the insurance pool, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It is a legally separate entity. It has its own board. One of the council members is on the board, a couple retirees on the board. So they also have to approve the trust's budget. They have to approve the rates that the trust charges and anything like that.
Okay, so that's why we don't see anything having to do with the trust in the budget, because it's managed
Right.
separately
What
within that.
what you see in the budget is, since it's self-insured, you'll see the 600 fund, you'll see the health and accident, which you're approving the budget. But the actual terms of the trust, the benefits that employees get is approved by the board. So when this is done, you're going to approve this, then the board has to approve it as well. And what you're really approving is these rates were recommended for us to pay for each year. You're approving, yeah, we agree to pay this amount, but they've put, here's the rates that we recommend, and the trust has to adopt the rates as well.
One more question, I think this is for Kenny. Is everybody grandfathered based on when they're gonna retire or when they were hired? I think,
So the the grandfathering happens for employees that are currently retired or retire before, now it's July 31st, that's the only grandfathering that happens. Anyone who retires August 1st, 2026 or after will automatically be moved to the state plan.
so why does Exhibit A talk about hire dates in Tier 1, 2, and 3 then, instead of?
Okay, because right now, as of today, we have 3 tiers of employees. The Tier 1 employees are the ones hired before 2009, October 25th. The Tier 2 employees, and they have a different medical. If you, the Exhibit A describes the difference between what a Tier 1 employee and a Tier 2 employee would get.
Right.
So the difference between the Tier 1 and Tier 2 employee is the Tier 1s, the city will reimburse the premium for Medicare A and B. The Tier 2s, the city will not. And that was established years and years ago.
So it's more what they signed on when they hired, what they were hired under, what they expect to retire,
That's
as
correct.
opposed to what their retirement date was.
Yeah.
It's what they signed on.
What they signed
to
on
get.
and when they were hired determines how they
This is
retire.
background, really not necessarily associated with the new policy.
Well,
Exhibit
the policy is in 5 different places. And the reason why we wrote this whole policy this way is so if anyone asks, what's the city's retirement policy? This document is now one document that has everything in it. So you're right. If we had had an amendment with the grandfathered ones, we wouldn't need to change it because there is no change. But because we're establishing this Exhibit A as the one prima facie document for retire health, we wanted to make sure everything was included.
Thank you. I'm good.
Good questions. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We have next Chief Heiser with agreement between the county and us for Salida.
Good afternoon, Vice Mayor Flowers and members of council. With this particular resolution, I'm requesting a renewal of our intergovernmental agreement between the City of Sierra Vista, Cochise County Sheriff's Office, and Cochise College. And this is for continued support of our Regional Police Academy. Been one of the best partnerships we've had for police training. We've now had this academy in place for several years. We offer 2 classes a year. They're 20 weeks each. And this particular IGA outlines some of the responsibilities and benefits we get out of this, and I'll go over that really briefly. One of the benefits, we provide a recruit training officer full-time to the academy. It's a police officer that's assigned to the academy. It works as a mentor and a trainer for the recruits. And for assigning him out there, we receive $13,570 in reimbursement for overtime for each 20-week session, as well as his meals are also covered. In addition, we provide our defensive tactics training room in case it's needed for the college. And lastly, because of all the in-kind contribution and the instruction that we do, Commander Brownson actually is an instructor, so am I. We teach a lot of coursework out there. And then a lot of the skill sets that they build out there in terms of the driving, shooting, firearms, defensive tactics, all the training we do out there. In addition, there's 30 college credit hours you earn while you're attending the academy. The tuition cost for up to 3 recruits for our agency is also waived for our contribution, and that's outlined here in this IGA. In fact, this next class in July, we have 2 that we've hired to send, and we are working on a 3rd, so we may have a 3rd, total of 3 recruits in this next academy class in July. So with this IGA, we continue to support recruiting locally, and then having a local police academy has been very beneficial. That's taught by the Sheriff's Office and SVPD. And also, this is the only academy we use exclusively now. We don't use any other academies in Phoenix or Tucson anymore. If I hire a recruit before this academy starts, we'll put them to work, maybe working as a CSO or doing some training before they go to the academy. This is exclusively what we use. So with that, I'll answer any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief Heiser? Okay. Thank you. Then we'll move on to item 7. That's going to be approval for the call to election. Oh, is this Jill? Hello. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Flowers, members of council, with your approval of the general plan at the last meeting and approval to refer it to the voters on the general election ballot, the city is now able to post a full call to election in the newspaper and on our posting places. It is required by statute. We are a little behind as far as the date lines go for this act, but that is one of the unintended issues with only having a general election. And so we did have to wait until the general plan was officially referred to the ballot because we couldn't put it in a call to election unless it had been referred to the ballot. So that's why this might be a little late. The document that's attached to the resolution provides you the actual ballot language that will appear. That is really only the top third of the Exhibit A. The remainder of that is actually the language that will be in the voter pamphlet when it is prepared by one of our vendors. The pamphlet will also be translated into Spanish, which is required by law, and mailed to every household in Sierra Vista about 30 to 45 days prior to the election. But if approved on Thursday night, we will prepare the call to election and send it off to the Herald and get it posted in the Herald, and we will again post it on our website, get it everywhere, because to this day there are still people that are confused when they don't see city stuff on a primary ballot. So we want to get the word out. We're on the general election.
Thank you, Jill. Any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Jill, what's the deadline for the pro and con arguments to our pamphlet?
I'm going to put that in the thing that we do post, and it's going to be 15th of July.
15 July?
Yes.
Thanks. And do we charge like $10 per?
We charge like $100
Oh,
for
$100
for an argument, whether pro or con.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? And I don't know who put the language together, but thank you for, maybe it was Matt, for including in bold letters, the Vista 2040 general plan will not change current zoning or increase taxes.
It was a
a
group
good
effort,
addition.
but they did, that was one of the main goals, was to make it very simple and very clear what it does and what it doesn't do, and they did a great job.
Yeah, combat rumors.
This
at
is
the
much
ballot box.
shorter
I
than the
like that.
last pamphlet language that we put out.
Yeah, and I think that's gonna help a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you guys, good job. Okay, item 8 is, it's gonna be Diana for the the Friends Big Idea Blitz and Cochise County Moonshot Programs Partnerships.
Yes. Good afternoon, Vice Mayor, members of council. This first resolution this afternoon request is just codifying the efforts that we've undertaken and the partnerships that we've taken to ensure the progress and the health of Moonshot and Big Idea Blitz, which is our Shark Tank style pitch competitions to boost entrepreneurship and small business capacity. So we have been running these programs with the help of the Sky Islands Regional Partnership and Foundation for the last 4 years this year. And this resolution also includes the addition of the Friends of the Sierra Vista Area Association, which is a new 501c3 located in Cochise County with a mission to enhance entrepreneurship and to foster economic growth and development. So they're going to be able to do some little more flexible accounting measures that will allow us to fundraise and then roll any leftover funds from our fundraising efforts for those programs into the next year, which we currently don't have a mechanism to do as the city or through the regional partnership. So that will kind of allow us to have a little bit more flexibility with those programs. Nothing really is going to change from how we do business or how we do the programs on a regular basis. It's just another partner to have on board to help us continue these efforts.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Diana? No. You want to just stay up there for the next?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, item 9, you take it away.
Okay, so the next resolution is a memorandum of understanding for the city of Sierra Vista and the Local First Arizona Foundation. They are also a nonprofit. They have a lot of experience in dealing with the revolving loan funds for small businesses. So as you guys recall in your current strategic leadership plan, objective 10.2, was to research and find ways to potentially provide a revolving loan fund for Sierra Vista-based small businesses. So we had several meetings with a few different entities, a few different organizations, and Local First has been really great. They've responded to all of our inquiries very quickly and were able to help us get the ball rolling. They sent us a sample MOU, and they've had success with a revolving loan fund in the city of Safford. The city of Safford a few years ago established a revolving loan fund for Graham and Greenlee counties for $100,000, and they've seen a lot of success with that. So we thought that they would make a great partner to come alongside of us and help us establish that revolving loan fund for our own small businesses. There's a budget allocation of $50,000, and just to clarify, that's not new fiscal year budget. We actually have that left over from funds that were not utilized as part of our business attraction fund, which is in the professional services line item of economic development. So we are not increasing any expenses, and we're actually maximizing what's left of this year's budget to establish this. If we wait till the next fiscal year to try to establish it, we'll have to see how the funds are utilized for business attraction purposes, whereas now at the end of this fiscal, they have not been allocated. So it's a great opportunity to basically double the size of this revolving loan fund. And we have Armando Carrillo. He's
Can I
from
ask you?
Local First, so he's here to answer any questions you have from Local First or specifics about the revolving loan fund if I can't answer.
Does he have anything he wants to share just off the bat?
Hi, good afternoon. Yes, my name is Armando Carrillo. I'm a business lending strategist with Local First Arizona. My background consists of 20 plus years in residential lending, branch management, banks like Chase, National Bank of Arizona, 1AZ Credit Union. The last 15 years, I've done a lot of commercial lending, all on the traditional side. And we know with businesses on the traditional side, you got to fit in a small box. You got to provide the 3 years of financials, and if you can't provide those 3 years, then it's you can't obtain any access to capital at this time. So in 2018, I joined Local First Arizona as a volunteer to be strategic with this microloan that Freeport initially introduced, and then the city of Safford saw the impact it was having on the small business community. And as Diana said, they put funds in just for the city, and we've just seen a tremendous amount of success with it. We've seen the small business community grow and then be able to expand into traditional lending guidelines within financial institutions. So it's just had a great impact, and I'm excited to see the possible opportunity within the Sierra Vista area.
Thank you. Any questions? Go ahead, Ken.
Hey, thank you, Armando. This is Councilmember Kilmurray. You have paid employees within Local First, right?
Yes.
Okay, so is the $50,000 that the city's providing, is that purely for the microloans, or does that go into the overall overhead of the nonprofit?
So that goes purely to the microloan program. And then Local First partners with Community Investment Corporation to service the loan, and they collect the interest on those loans.
Okay, great, thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? All right. Thanks so much. Thanks for calling in, Armando.
Armando.
Thank you.
All right, then our last item for Thursday night's meeting is item 10. Ms. Adams.
Vice Mayor Flowers, members of council, this item before you is the IGA that the city and county enter into together every election year. We've been doing it several decades. We've been working with the county. The city has not done their own election, I don't think, since the 90s. But it is a good agreement that we have used. It saves the city an incredible amount of money. If we had to actually staff our own election and hire people get the technology, get the equipment, it would be exorbitant. I couldn't give you a number, but I tell you it would be large. They have been a good partner to us. I will note that the fiscal impact that's listed on the memo is really the full election cost. It is not just this IGA. This IGA with the county will ultimately cost us less than $30,000. They base their main charge on the number of registered voters, and currently that sits at 30,972. And it'll probably go up prior to the general election, but it's 75 cents per voter, registered voter, and that's one fee they charge us, and then some minor fees. So I expect that the county fee will be somewhere between $25,000 and $27,000 for the election purposes. The rest of the fees will go towards the cost of the pamphlet and the processing for that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the city clerk? Go ahead, Ken.
You didn't have a question? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm running the meeting. I called you.
Oh, okay. I forgot what my question was. Oh, on the canvassing, the city does, for example, after you canvass, and if we have any required recounts, the city has to pay. The city pays for that by
Yes.
themselves, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, we will, the process is the city does not have to truly wait for the county to canvass. They will send us official results as soon as they have counted all the ballots, even if the county has not canvassed yet. We can do a canvass on that. And I won't swear to it, but it used to be 10 votes. They have to be within 10 votes in order to force a recount in a local election. We've had that happen once in my time, 20-some plus years.
Okay.
So I don't anticipate that it'll happen, but if it does, we will do it. It would only really come into effect depending on how many candidates we have. Now, if we have multiple candidates for one seat, like the mayor's office, then that could come into play with council seats, depending on how many people we have. So there's a chance, but it's unlikely that we'll have a recall, but we would then have to foot that bill, yes.
All right. Any other questions, comments? All right. Thank you. And that's
But
Just
yeah, the
put a
handbook
bill-
just says it
yeah.
goes into a file.
Yeah, and where that digital file could live on the website.
Yeah, good, thank you.
It's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I didn't think it was, but it is something we need to discuss among our group. So the second part is accountability, probably a little bit more controversial. And I would propose that whatever the money is gets divided among all of us. Like you said, some travel more, some travel less.
yeah.
But the money gets divided among ourselves. We add an extra column to the travel and training that actually tracks the burn rate from July to July. And we start with $6,000 and we burn it down to zero. And once we reach zero as a council member, we're out of money. Unless we can ask another council to borrow some of their funds, that could be a way of going over. Or if you burn your way down to zero and then you still need more money, it would be a discussion topic at a city work session, talking among this group to agree to raise the upper limits. Because it seemed last year we went burning through the budget on travel and expenses. And there needs to be a way for us to control ourselves, to be able to watch what we're spending. And then when we see, because I've never paid attention to it, bad on me. And so anyway, I think that would be a fair way of accounting with some outs that would be somewhat painful outs. Because you have to ask somebody for a favor, or you have to ask the group for a favor to be able to extend the money. So thoughts on that also.
Well, I think looking at this, I mean, if we all went to every one of these trips, we'd bust
Yeah,
our
that's
budget.
what I was thinking.
Yeah, but it makes you think about, what are we spending? Why are we doing this? And is 40,000 enough? I looked through all of these, and the money, $20 here, $20 there, $1,000 to go to a conference. I see it value added to the city. All of these, whether it's a meet and greet with people, various civic groups, there's a cost that as individuals it would break our banks to be able to go to all those, particularly the mayor, because he goes to most of those. So Yeah, so I was thinking a fair way of doing it. We have, what is it? $42,850 divided 7 ways, and we burn it down to the bottom. And then if we want to exceed that, we have to ask, and we have to ask publicly. And that's the accountability hit that we need to take as public, in my opinion, as public servants.
Right.
I think the mayor would have to have more because he obviously has more public events
Yeah,
that get paid for.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I like the idea. It sounds good. I think the metrics are what's hard to gauge because, like you said, some people travel, some people don't, and everybody has their own reasons for whatever. But I also agree there's obviously value added there. But and just looking at the overall, here's what we have to spend as a council in a budget year, and some people don't use it. That's fine. They don't need to use it. That's cool. But having the process that I'm confused about is, you said we would, if we go over our portion, that's our division of whatever, that 7. The first part about that is what you mentioned is with the mayor's portion. I think it's hard to calculate that because you can imagine, as you know, everywhere the mayor is expected to be by the public, making a whole $1,000 a month. And then is that different than what the council uses? That'd be difficult to differentiate there. And then the second part of that is when you say ask someone else, so if they say no, then you keep asking down the line of somebody else, hey, are you not traveling this year? Can I use some of your money? Is that how the process will go? That's my question.
I think that's a way it could go, Mark, because we'll all have the information available. It'll come out in the report. You can look at my line and see, well, Ken's not traveling and he has another $5,000 left. I need to go to this conference. Are you willing to give your budget? And it's just a cost control management problem. The rest of the city does it. We're kind of the only entity in the city who doesn't actually control
Right.
its own
We're
costs.
talking about the mayor's travel budget, but he had one of the lowest overall
Right.
for the
No,
year.
I kind of use him as an example because Carolyn, I know, does a lot of public events for him.
Let me ask the city manager. What would happen if a department went over their travel budget? Would they be able to at all? I don't know what we do.
Well, Vice Mayor Flowers, members of the council, obviously it's up to the department heads to monitor their department's travel. Generally, we don't have a problem with departmental travel and training, so it doesn't really come up that much. If there is, a good reason, let's say, police department, for example, is running close and then they have to send somebody to a specialized training or something like that, that's generally going to come to me to approve at that point. So
There's going to be
if there's a good reason, certainly, I'm going to allow it to happen.
And I appreciate what Councilmember Kilmurray is trying to address because I also see it as an issue. Because let's say, like Brian said, hypothetically, everyone could decide to do all the trips that these are, and it would be outrageous. But what do we have? We can't. The thing that I'm not thrilled about the one idea is that you put council members in positions that they'd be beholden possibly to another council member, and I feel like that's a bad
that
territory.
might not even be legal, to tell the truth.
Yeah, plus that.
But-
So, but I like what you're trying to address, and I agree. We need something to keep this from having to double again next year.
Yeah.
I mean,
And to
maybe
keep
just
our eye
something
on
to
the
think
ball.
about long-term planning where we just look at a calendar amongst ourselves, maybe through, I don't know, just say, okay, these are the trips that are coming up, the training opportunities that we have. And, we have 3 council members, 3 and 3, and let's say we figure it out amongst ourselves and we say, well, 3 of us are going to go to these and 3 of us are going to go to these, something like that. I'm just thinking out loud where, because it is impossible, it's untenable for all of us to go to all of them. Because we would break the bank if we did that. But nobody's doing that, actually. When you look at this, nobody's going to all of them. It's just, you know,
Well, you have two folks that make up
I didn't
65%.
want to turn this into throwing rocks at each other either.
Right, which is why I'm just saying, if two folks can do that, yeah, just one other person going to as many conferences
obviously the
would
one
be
in
outside this
Arizona
budget.
is one, like, I went to the one in Arizona last year. I want to go to the one in Arizona this year. I think that one is an easy one because, you know, it doesn't require air travel. I personally
Right, and it's
shy
one of the
from air
cheaper
travel.
ones, because it's in
It's
August.
the cheaper one. So I've already put myself down for the one in Arizona. I like that one. So it's a once a year type of deal. I like the 1 year interval, but that's one where it may attract more people because it's local. But the other ones, you know, I'm not as into those where you have to do the air travel. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, sorry about that.
Yeah, just like to share some thoughts that I have as a council member. I feel, well, like the email that we got, I thought it was really great that the public shows an interest and they share their concerns with us. And one of the things that was mentioned was when Greg Johnson had brought up that if somebody's traveling, if somebody's spending so much that they should do a report or share information. And one of the things that we have in our work session is report on recent trips, meetings, and future meetings. And I feel like that would be a really great time, and I feel like we should, because our meetings are recorded. People can come in person and see them. They can go back and they can see them later and share them or whatever. So I think it's a really great opportunity to share as council members where we went, what we learned, what we brought back, and how we're going to implement whatever we learned. I think that, as Councilmember Meyer said, the Arizona League of Cities and Towns, it's once a year in August, the end of August or whatever. I feel like every council member should attend at least one of them during their term, because you're able to come together from people from all over the state. There's mayors, there's city managers, there's council members, there's all kinds of people, and it's a really great way to learn about other communities and kind of find communities that are similar to yours and get good ideas in different panels or whatever. When I went a few years ago, when Mayor Mueller was here, he had mentioned that a lot of times council members will try to hit different panels, so not everybody's in one panel, so everybody gets a little bit of different information. And I think that's a really great idea to kind of, as you mentioned, kind of like tag team a little bit with some of those things. And for me, you know, one of the options that are available is to go to DC. And personally, I don't go there because I feel like I cannot bring any added value back to Sierra Vista. So I choose not to go there. There's other people that I think could do a little bit more than I can. So that's something that I don't plan on going to, and I haven't. So, but I do feel, I think this is a really great conversation to have. I think it's something that we should talk about, just because I don't think that the council travel's ever been this high in the past. And I think that's something that's, if that's the case, then we probably should talk about it too. But I did want to mention that we do have at our work sessions a time for everybody to share that, and people haven't really done that, and I feel like that's something that we should make sure that we have, just because the meetings are recorded, and this is a place for the community to see that, and I think that's something that's important.
You're right, that's why that item's on there.
I think that's in addition to both of these items, so that's us. See, this is the value, sharing the value,
Right.
making our trips more valuable to each other.
Right.
But I think my intended discussion was just to look at the accountability to ourselves. Like, I'm not going to the meeting in the Valley this year because I'm not going to be on council next year. I don't think it's value added to the city for
Right.
me to go, but it certainly was last year.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's various ways we can do it. You know, one of the, I can't find the item right now. I had it highlighted, but it says that we're actually supposed to put our budget requests into, or some variation of those words, into the staff. This is what I want to do for the year, and that's how the budget's supposed to be made. Oh, no, that's not it. Oh, yeah, council makes every attempt to plan for travel the following fiscal year within the regular city budgeting process. It's not exactly what it says,
Right.
but we're supposed to be planning ahead. So do we do that individually, Or do we have a lump sum, divide it up, and then ask for more? if we
Right,
need more?
yeah, because I know what you're thinking. You're like, someone towards the end of the year will want to use it, and then if there's nothing left, but we cap ourselves, and then that one person's just left without
Yeah,
anything, and they didn't take a trip all year.
well, but
Yeah.
they would have taken a trip all year.
Right,
Unless we're, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to cap, a big cap. We want individual caps to force, to share the burden among each other. So I have to control my costs, you have to control your costs. But yeah, but if you put like a $40,000 cap, one person uses it, now the rest of us.
Right, that's what I'm
don't.
saying.
Yeah.
okay. I don't know if this is something that,
It's a longer.
have you
harder
ever,
discussion.
I'll ask the city manager, have you ever had it in place where they, so that we could prevent us from overspending our own budget? Like,
Vice Mayor Flowers, the simple answer is no.
there's no like mechanism?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any authority over a council member, so,
Right.
so it's, I can report and tell you, what's going on and all that, but I can't really approve your travel, or I can let you know, well, your travel budget is, getting close to the edge or whatever, so.
Right, because we
Yeah.
set the budget and we don't want to go over that.
We budget based on actuals.
It's up to us, I guess, right?
Yeah, we have to please ourselves. And
We
and
have to
that's my
police
point.
ourselves.
We have, like Chuck said, he can't tell us what to do. It's our weird relationship, right? We have to police ourselves, and we have to control our own appetites.
Yeah. I don't know the
I
best
think
way to
that-
do that.
I mean, my comment for that too is, I mean, it's hard to judge what if a good training opportunity comes up that day. It's not I wouldn't call it an appetite thing, but just like hey, that's something nobody's gone to, or would like to see what that's about, to see if that's value added type of, or if it feels like it would be, is that something, then what happens then for that person that wants to do that? It wasn't like something that they budgeted or whatever ahead of time.
Well, but Mark, that's what management is, and we're the council, and we should be able to manage our budget as individuals and as a group, right? Right.
Oh, I definitely agree.
I was just
definitely
gonna-
agree. I don't think we're special. We don't, we just because of the relationship that we have with versus the city manager, things like that. It doesn't make us special or different. Obviously, I think I agree with everything. That's it does come to accountability, and that's what if someone feels like we're not being transparent or our things that we publish aren't enough, then sure, we can post stuff online. It's all public record. That's not a big deal. I don't see the issue there. And I think, from what I understand, when it comes to, the whole travel budget to begin with is based off of a estimate of like, okay, if every council member went to this, every council member went to that, things that we already know, the Arizona League stuff, the NLC stuff, that is normally the normal things that happen. And now some things happen out of the ordinary, I guess, that would come up, or maybe something, like I said, that somebody wants to go to. And I think and I would love to see our staff there as well. And when we go to NLC or AZ League, and I see a lot of those other cities, they bring their staff with them, and I love that, because I think there's a lot of missed opportunities there. And I'm not sure if it gets sent out to them, since we're talking about travel and things like that. We're not talking about their budget, but I'm just mentioning it now because I've seen that, and I know other cities have. There's some things that I see on the agenda. I'm like, you know what, our staff members should probably sit in on this or be aware of this. I mean, we can obviously bring the information back like we do now, but there's just sometimes I feel like there's probably certain people of our staff that should be there as well.
Mark?
So, I want to just clarify. So, Mark, I think you're under the assumption that I was before seeing, and I'm so sorry, you can't see the spreadsheet we got when we arrived here from the city manager, but that 40,000 isn't from planning every council member to spend this much. It's based on how much the current council spent in FY26, which and 2 council members made up nearly 67% of that travel. So it's not taking into account planning for everyone to do.
Yeah. The staff makes their own budget at the beginning of the year in each division. I'm kind of looking over at them for a nod. they have the meetings that they think they need to go to for the year, and they plan ahead like professionals that they are, and plan ahead, and it goes into their budget. It's part of just operations of the city, and they go to these meetings too, and proposing that we do the same thing from one aspect or another. But something out there, some piece of paper that controls us.
Well, one thing that might help, I mean, I'm just talking, again, we're having this discussion, so I'm just talking out loud. An idea is if one council member has done a particular trip, and I'm not necessarily talking about the AZ League, because that seems to be something that we could all benefit from, because again, it's an Arizona event, it's something central, and we can all drive there, and it's not as expensive. Nobody's doing airfare and things like that. But let's talk about the ones where we have to travel and fly, and it adds more expense. If one council member has gone to something, let's say DC, then when it rolls back around the next year, maybe that council member can sit that one out, and maybe not go the next year because they've already been that year, and that would cut down on the cost.
Oh, right, yeah, and then.
See what I'm
So
saying?
do we have a council work
Interesting
session
idea.
that we sit and we plan out next year? We have to do everything.
I mean, I'm
public.
just saying, that way, and that would be regardless of who goes. So if you've gone to one, then maybe you set out that particular one the next year as just kind of a gentleman and gentlewoman's agreement.
The city
between
manager
us.
wanted to say something.
Yeah, Vice Mayor Flowers, members of the council, and this kind of follows along with what Brian's just saying, that we're far away from DC, and we have Fort Huachuca here, and it's a large part of our economy. So the travel to DC is the primary driver behind most high-cost, trips that hit our budgets. And sometimes it isn't just going to the National League of Cities conference or the Arizona League, and I find value in the Arizona League myself. I think that's well worth attending. NLC, they hit a lot of different issues. Some may pertain to us, some may not. But there's also travel involved, particularly because I've had to travel to DC quite a bit with mayors for issues like BRACs and those kind of things, or you're lobbying for a mission or something like that, and the mayor has to go. Those are really special circumstances that should require some elected official or officials attending. And things like that go on in Phoenix too, where you need to go to the governor's office or whatever. Those things can happen. So it's relatively easy to plan for conferences. Like, you pretty much know, you got the state league, you may or may not want to go to an NLC conference or whatever, and there's others out there. And staff does the same thing because they have professional associations and that kind of thing that meet. So they plan, which ones they need to go to, and I encourage them to go to those. I think it's very important. And then they have the task also of making sure that they have adequate training for their employees as well. So that's the difference there. So some of your travel though is harder to plan. When you have to go to DC on a trip because something's going on with water or something's happening with Fort Huachuca, it's not wise to avoid going to that kind of a trip. You need to do that. So there needs to be a little bit of flexibility, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But
I think I was saying more along the lines of if
the conferences,
if you went to a conference one year and it's the same conference the next year, there would be no real reason for that council member to go to this same conference 2 years in a row.
There's a difference between.
And I would
Go ahead, Mark.
I would say I understand what you're saying, Brian. We've had this discussion with previous council members that kind of said one conference is the same conference. What am I going to learn the next year? And that's not the case. It's everyone's different. It's based off what's going on that year. If you're at the Arizona level or the national level, the topics definitely change every year. They're definitely not the same. And I think they're all value added. And then there's the other side of it is, if you're a council member that wants to go and seek leadership opportunities like with NLC, right? Where they have boards as well versus NLC that, you would want to attend. If you're the person on that board, then you should probably be there representing not only Arizona, but our local community. So I think that should be looked at as well. But I just want anybody to think that it's just the same regurgitated conference every year, because it definitely is not.
Understood.
Everyone's
We're talking about a budget, trying to make it fit inside. We're trying to get a circle in a circle hole with a budget.
How do we do
I
that?
agree. I agree 100% that we gotta keep that in check and not go over. I just don't want anybody out there to think that
We have to police
we're
ourselves
going
because
some-
we've already established that nobody's going to police us. So we're having an open discussion about how to do that.
Yeah, I propose one. I think you're right. One of those solutions is a no-go. But yeah, I propose one way of doing it, where we divide it up, and if you need more, because right now we're making arguments for these various meetings. I think they're valid arguments. I think I need to go to this meeting, I need to do this, and I need more money to do that. And if that's true, then I should be able to explain it to this group, and this group should be able to nod their heads yes, and say, yep, I agree that this is value added to the city. But before that threshold, we can do whatever we want, with a smaller amount of money. And if we want more than that money, then we have to play Mother May I to the rest of council. And we police each other, we police ourselves, and then when we exceed a certain threshold, we police each other. And that's my proposal.
Did
solve
the
it.
mayor ever have an ability to sign off on these things, and we just don't do that?
Vice Mayor Flowers, members of the council, that has been an idea that has been floated in the past where the mayor would sign off on council travel requests and that kind of thing, but that didn't really work out very well in the past.
Oh, you tried it.
That's
Okay.
not to say that it wouldn't in the future. But there is maybe one way that we as staff can help you. We know, just based on historical, results of your travel, there are certain things that you go to. They could be an NLC conference, they could be a Arizona League conference, Rural Transportation Conference, whatever it is. We can pretty much price those out for you, going into a budget year, and say, these are generally the trips that council members take during the course of the year. And if, and per trip, the cost would be, around, whatever this dollar figure is. And then, kind of calculate what it would be. Like if all 7 of you went to all those things, well, that'd be, 80 or 1,000 or whatever, but that doesn't happen either, because not everybody goes on every trip. But at least we can price out the ones that you typically go to, and I think that can help you plan, your next budget, if we do that as well.
Okay.
Because we have that information, so.
Thank you.
Is it too late for this year's budget to do that for 27 now? Because we're voting on Thursday.
Well, we're not going to change the budget, right? Because we're keeping it at the 40. What was it? 42,000.
But
But you're
we
talking
can
about
do that
policy change.
we can do that legwork for you, though.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be 2 months before the next budget.
Right.
Because we right now, we have the capability to blow through this budget also.
Yep.
From a
Which is why
policy
it's good you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
And then somewhere, Chuck will find the money and it'll get paid for. And we'll have, I'll have not done my job, I'll put it that way. I mean, I already think I owe a check of $150 back to the city for something I shouldn't spend on. So,
So to go with your idea, Chuck, that let's say we put all the money in for, let's say everyone's going in August. Actually, well, everyone did go in August. Yeah, except for Dr. Landry. But let's say, okay, she didn't go, and then we could just carry that over and it becomes available for someone to take another trip. I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, you got a registration, you've got hotels for X number of nights, you have your mileage to get there and back, hotel cost,
Right.
whatever it is, and per diem for meals. So it's not rocket science to figure out what it's gonna, cost per person to go, on a trip to Phoenix or whatever. DC a little harder because, obviously hotels and
Yeah.
airfares fluctuate, but we can get a pretty good average, I think, for what that is.
Okay. And then maybe if it helps council, when we get the quarterly reports, have a running total of how much we spent so far.
Can do that.
I think that's why maybe when we look at those reports, it's out of sight. Like, we're not keeping a running total in our heads.
Yeah, when you're looking at them independently, they kind of don't mean anything, because they, like you
Like,
said,
oh
they
yeah,
fluctuate.
I know so-and-so went on a trip.
At the very least, we'd have that running total, and we'd all be able to look at a chart like this,
Which is a very pretty chart, by the way, whoever did it. Nice and colorful.
and very useful.
Very rainbow. So, are you satisfied with the discussion?
So is the consensus that, for at least right now, we're going to have the running totals, and we're gonna count, and it's gonna be public information?
And they're
And we have
posting
to
it
answer.
And we're going to
online.
post.
Right. It's not a bad idea.
And then we will
Here's our
try
total
to,
for the year, I look at
Because
it,
that's really the only person that can hold us accountable is the public.
yeah.
Right? Thank you. Yeah? We're good? Okay. Then, item C, report on recent trips, meetings, and future meetings. Yeah, okay.
Wait,
Not
everybody.
everyone speak up. Let's see, I know I have a calendar in here.
There's the SBMPO meeting tomorrow.
Yes, thank you. We have an MPO meeting tomorrow.
Is anybody gonna go to the meet and greet on Thursday, besides me?
Environmental tomorrow as well.
We have a meet and greet on Thursday.
And that's at Pedro Castro.
Park?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you have a quorum. Good. Okay.
Is there something in the morning on Thursday and then meet and greets after that?
That's at 4, just for the record. 4 p.m. for the environmental at Pedro Castro.
What time did we have a meet and greet scheduled? I'm not tracking.
It is at,
Like in the morning?
yeah, 11:30, farmer's market.
Oh, I know why. Because they're also having a ribbon cutting for the Armed Forces Bank on Post, so I'll be there. Is it just Ken going to the meet and greet
Which one is that?
on Thursday at Farmers Market?
Yeah, Rochelle sent me a note asking me,
Somebody want to keep him company?
Gotta email a reminder.
talk to the public about myself.
And then, yeah, or, yeah, that,
It's always dangerous.
and then,
You guys can email asking us to reply, and I think we all replied. I won't be there because it's the same day as the Fort Huachuca and my Hall of Fame thing on Thursday.
oh yeah, and that. Thank you, Mark. Okay. Anything else? No? Then item D, future discussion items and council requests.
okay, Victoria left me a note, so for the July 7th work session, I think you're getting a presentation from the Endeavors Group, which is a no-cost support program for first responders. So we'll hopefully get a presentation from them and see how they can be beneficial to us. So,
Great. Anything else? Any requests of council? All right. Hearing none, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you.